everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the annual membership meeting. Appreciate those that are attending and those that are online. And we'll get started. And we'll call the order. That's what we'll do. We'll say, we have a board member that had a conflict, unfortunately, and Dakota said she couldn't make it. And then we had Bob Lush that had a family emergency and sends his apologies for not being able to attend. So we'll have a couple of step-ins on their slides. So get ready, Lana and others to fill in. Okay, the annual meeting is a great time to recognize the people that are coming onto the board and coming off of the board. And as well as a lot of the accomplishments that's been done this year. So if you've been here religiously to each board meeting, you probably will see some redundancies, but those that haven't, just kind of summarize some of the things that have been going on for the year. And maybe if I could ask Ken just to lean back a minute. So I want to, we're celebrating our 55th anniversary here on November 26th. I kind of remind ourselves how old of the club and the things that we've been through. And really appreciate all the support that we've had for the last year from members and from the staff to achieve our values and our mission. A lot of the slide here is about, we're continuing to do a lot of these things. Our future continues to be bright as long as we dream big and work hard to achieve it. We're really fortunate for those that have saved the golf course through the turmoils and the facilities so that we can be here to enjoy them and build on them. All the indications that the post-COVID golfing interest is here and alive and staying alive. And with our demographics, as people continue to get closer to us, it's attracting more and more members to see who to join us. We're just so fortunate to have a great management team. They're exceeding our expectations in a lot of ways. From recruiting and improving the course and facilities and there's events that are put on. And again, we've got the recognition this year for the best Denver region private country club, which is the demise of some of the others on the list. We're now calling our LRP the capital planning process. Now that we have identified our capital needs with some external resources, helped us identify our long-term capital needs. And we have put together a financial plan to deliver those needs over the next few years. And we're continuing to execute the improvements and the projects to sustain that future that we've envisioned. So with that, we've got a lot of some short-term goals that we'll talk about and committee reports. This is the current board of directors. And both of our candidates were elected overwhelmingly. Again, really appreciate the skills that both Mike and Lucy are going to bring to the board and really appreciate them stepping up to help us continue. Do you have any comments, Lucy?
I'm looking forward to serving.
Well, we're looking forward to assigning.
Oh, man,
Sure. Thanks.
to Mike. For his service. Right? He's coming on.
Oh, yeah, he's coming off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that. Well,
It's been fun.
I bet.
We have. I've seen other past board members thrilled to get off and ready to move on and, we were able to do a lot of great stuff and didn't feel like I couldn't wait to get off. It was,
Right.
it was time to more talented, brighter people than
A little
me.
less crisis mode these days, yeah.
And we really
Yeah, thank you.
really appreciate all the help.
It's been fun.
The bylaw amendments, pretty significant, majority voted for all the amendments, so we appreciate that support. As we move forward. We'll talk a little bit about the governance, which is one of the requirements of our bylaws. This year, we mainly reviewed and updated our governance documents as we picked up some lessons learned, added some, we didn't have any significant additional guidance on them this year. We were we approved in the auditing of our annual financial budgets, which is a bylaw requirement. We appointed a nominating committee and, of course, we conducted the board member elections. And then, we also required to have monthly board meetings and annual member meeting. Those are all the bylaw requirements were completed. No exceptions. A few things on the bylaws. We presented quite a few amendments this year to the members and got approval for those. We updated protocols for conducting email voting. We do several voting online. We did a member approvals, or we generally will have we always have a discussion before we approve any expenditures. And then, once we get clarity, we can, vote on them electronically. And so we set together some protocols so we're consistent. We updated the strategic plan again this year to show our progress. We updated the initiatives, and those are the actions we're taking annually to achieve the long-term goals. We included the capital planning process I talked about earlier as into the strategic plan. We integrated with Club Benchmarking's software that essentially lists all of our assets, expiration dates, expected replacement costs, and life cycle, and gives us a 10 to 15 year projection of capital needs to maintain and to improve them. So big tool, helpful for us. And then we updated how we quarterly we measure our progress against our strategic initiatives and our strategic plan. So this year we reviewed charters, the LRP, changed to the capital planning committee. We had a Compass subcommittee completed its task that we implemented. Dan McMahon headed that up. We got it brought into our system, and we sunset that subcommittee. Typically, we'd like to have a subcommittee probably last less than a year, maybe a year and a half, but they're not meant to stay on. If they are, then we'll consider moving them to a full committee, and that's the case of the House Facility Subcommittee. Really focused on the facility here, Max's, and kind of the campus around it. We've got a lot of projects coming up, so we're likely to recommend that as a full committee as we get started with the new board. And all the documents should be on the website or being updated on the website. And we'll move on to the capital planning committee, right?
Problem with talking after Gary covers all your points for you.
Makes it short.
That's right. No, this is the capital planning committee, folks that have been working on it over the past year. It really has been extremely successful. It's amazing how much this group, and it has been a group working together, has accomplished. With no doubt about it, probably the ones who work the hardest on all these committees is the management team. The management team have done a great job this year, so this is just the list of folks who spent time in the last year helping make improvements on the budget. With that, top 3 updates for 23-24. Okay, so that's a different slide. But I mean, It's a slide, but I had updated, that's okay, no problem. We're good. So capital planning committee with meaningful funds available. The role of the committee really has evolved. We're not really involved in long range planning as the primary focus. The primary focus right now is on implementing projects. So we've gone from planning to implementing, but for that reason, we changed the name to capital planning. And it's really difficult when your phone is buzzing in your back pocket. We created two subcommittees between 23 and 24. The first one was the Compass Asset Management, which is chaired by Dan McMahon. Through club benchmarking, we provided log tracking all assets, determine replacement values, and suggested useful life. Now that tool, that document that has been prepared, all the directors participated in creating that document and helping to prioritize it. And then the leadership group is using that information not as an absolute, but as a tool, a guideline to help them move forward and decide which projects need to go forward next. What's the priority and timing of those projects? We also have created a second committee, which is the Manor House Subcommittee, chaired by Lucy. That committee was really created because the House Committee, which in the past had kind of been involved with overseeing this structure, this facility, Max's, the surrounding campus, really didn't have the resources and the knowledge to focus on those things. And since in the past we didn't have a lot of money, there wasn't a lot of need to focus on it. But we created this new committee chaired by Lucy, and it really is worked very hard at a lot of the improvements that you see, everything from the mini splits to the lockers downstairs to new windows, a lot of other things that have gone on. So the third thing is an escrow planning account. We felt that we needed to be planning for some major projects coming up, like the pump station, like the drainage system, like the bunkers, the big ticket items. We wanted to be prepared for those, so we've developed an escrow account, and through the end of this year, we'll have it funded at $200,000. And we plan on building on the escrow account going forward, so we have the money when we need it for those big projects. All right, so next slide, determining which projects move forward. The capital planning managed a very long list of projects through a project tracking log. That tracking log is managed by Sean Butler, and right now it has more than 100 projects on it. For a project to move past this tracking log and become a real project, the directors and the committees create what we call project data sheets. Those project data sheets start to explain the project in more detail. In the past, we would say bunkers, or we would say cart path, without not a whole lot of definition of when and where, and it's tough to really manage if you don't have specific goals. So through the project data sheets, we create very specific projects with detailed descriptions of what it is that everybody's considering. Capital planning prioritizes projects from the various committees. All the committees bring the projects together, and then capital planning starts to rank those and prioritize, and then work with finance to be able to fund those projects at any given time. When a project's ready to move forward, then there's a process that was instituted a while back, which is an authorization for expenditure. We now submit a formal request, and that authorization for expenditure is very specific. It gives a very detailed scope. It gives a budget, it gives a schedule, and it defines the reason why that project is a high priority and should move forward quickly. So it's a formal process, and the directors and the committees and everybody know and understand how to implement those. Capital planning, if they're in agreement with it, they'll make a recommendation to the board. And it's important to note that capital planning and none of the committees approve anything. Only the board can approve it. These committees make recommendations as they go forward. However, projects under $2,500, the general manager has the authority to approve those. projects in excess of $2,500 require board approval, and projects in excess of $100,000 require approval of the membership. Although now that has changed officially to $200,000 based on the vote that came in today. So we now have the ability to move forward. When you're working on $1 million projects a year, it's helpful to not have to run back to the membership, every other month to get a project approved. And we just have to trust the fiscal accountability of the board moving forward. And they've done a good job and a diligent job of making sure we're spending money on the right things at the right time. So this $200,000 will kind of help us bridge the gap on projects that we think need to happen, but don't need to necessarily be voted on every member every time. The one exception to these dollar amounts is if we are directed by an authority having jurisdiction, which is the formal name of all the government entities. They tell us we have to do something, and regardless what the dollar value is, we have to go forward with that project. So that's the only exception to this policy. All right, capital planning committee on member involvement in capital projects. So we always have great ideas from the membership out there. There's a lot of folks that have been here a while, folks that are new with a new set of eyes, and they come up with ideas and recommendations. One of the challenges is that if we have 300, 400, 500 members going to the staff, to the directors with recommendations of their ideas, it really takes them away from their core business of managing whatever they manage, the golf course, the pro shop, the restaurant. And if they're constantly working and being addressed by many members on issues and ideas and recommendations, it kind of bogs them down. So our strong recommendation is if you have a legitimate idea, and you'll know it's legitimate if you think it's worth attending a committee meeting and sharing it, that you take those ideas to the committees, which would be very helpful. The committees will then vet the ideas and move forward if they believe that they have merit. We have lots of ideas that have merit. We have some ideas that really don't. It's recommended that the members do not bring the ideas to the directors, as we just mentioned. As the directors participate in these monthly committee meetings, they'll be there to be able to provide their thoughts and input into it. And then if you believe that the committee does not address your concerns, at that time you can take it to a board. But also the board gets an awful lot of inquiries and requests. And what we should be saying as a board is, it's a good idea, why don't you take it through the committee and vet it there and see if it makes sense. And then on the rare occasion that an issue represents a critical safety issue, immediately reach out directly to the general manager and or a board member. So that's the process we'd like to have moving forward. I know it's going to be difficult because a lot of folks feel like they've got direct access all the time to all the directors and the staff. But we want to try to minimize that and add more structure and discipline to the process as it goes forward. And I think we can all be a lot more productive and allow people to stay focused on their core business and what they do for a living. So I believe that's it. Oh, just the next page. I put together a list of projects that have been funded since we went from $65 a month to $150 a month. Ted knows that process very well when we got there. He's very much involved in it. But if you look at the projects, you start to see in 2021, we were really doing some big dollar item projects that were really critical and were necessary. That parking lot was a disaster. It really was. So 2021 was correcting some big projects. 2022, we continued that path. And we added the kitchen, the HVAC system in the kitchen, which Chef will tell you that the work environment has changed drastically since that done. But those first couple of years, we were really working on big projects that were way overdue. In 23, we were able to address several more projects, still addressing projects that were important and things that were needed to be done. But we're able to address more projects and look at a longer list. And in 2024, The list has grown even longer, and we've been able to do a lot of things that have been really kind of comfort zone kinds of things that allow us to feel more comfortable going forward. And as you see on the left side, in there, we've included $200,000 for the annual escrow account. And then, still in 2024, we have several projects that have not been completed that are still underway for this year. The dam spillway repairs is gonna be, started in the next week or so, Nate?
Correct, yep. On the
Two
14th.
aerifiers. Jason has identified two aerifiers. We have none. We have to borrow them every year. He's identified two from one of the local clubs that is selling theirs, and he's able to get those at a really great rate and feel really good about that. We're talking about heated entry at the walkway so that in the wintertime, when people come off of the parking lot, they don't have the ice and slippage that is out there right now as a risk. Cart path behind 15 Green and 16 Fairway is on slate for this fall. Paving out at Max's, pool deck resurfacing, and driving range stall dividers, Max's refrigerator, and West Bank erosion repair project. So these are all still projects that are being considered for 2024. I believe that's it. I guess Gary didn't cover everything.
Well, that was just a little teaser for you.
You got it. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, quick one. So the escrow account, is that what we originally called the reserve?
No.
It's different.
It's different, it's in addition to.
Oh, well, okay.
The reserve is operating cash,
Okay,
the escrow is capital.
so where's that, does that come from where's that come from?
Dues and initiation, the revenue that comes into capital,
It's just separated out as a,
Yes.
savings account, you could call it,
okay,
yeah, a reserve in capital.
okay. So why did we have to make that separate?
Because we wanted to. Seriously.
To call it
We wanted to
after
make
the
sure that
bid
we had
stuff.
money set aside, that we didn't spend all the money that we had every year.
Okay,
So we could start to build a pool of money so that when we do the pump house, and it's a $400,000 project, that we have the money and we don't have to then not complete all the other projects we'd like to do that year. It's just a way of planning for the future.
so could we, so once we put money in the capital fund, we can't move it back into operating, but the escrow, presumably you could put it in the escrow and then move it out.
It's really just a line item in the capital fund so that we're not spending that money. It's like, we get near the end of the year, wow, we got an extra $200,000, let's go find something to spend on it. Well, we know next year we've got to do these other major projects the year after, and so we need to start planning and building a pool of money.
What's the prognosis of the overall structure of the manor house, given the compass studies that you've been using?
And it's probably got another 100 years. No. We'll probably use it for another 100 years, but
Yeah,
There
no,
are-
I mean, when's the cost of maintaining this whole facility? When are we gonna end up in a Red Rocks kind of situation where you gotta throw a new clubhouse at it?
we hope we don't
We hope you don't.
have to do that, and quite honestly, Lucy's subcommittee is really addressing it project by project. What are the things that need to be fixed? We had a lousy heating and cooling system on this facility, and now we have the mini splits that are working well. And so you're really attacking it on a project by project basis right now, and I don't know of anybody that is thinking about demolishing this building and rebuilding a new one right now.
No, understood. I just was curious if the condition assessment gave you a good feel for whether this structure has 20 years left or 30 years or where are we at, you know, that sort of.
I would say in our
It's-
strategy and our capital assessment, we don't have a plan to replace this building.
Right.
And what a lot of the subcommittee is doing is to make sure that any deterioration or any annual replacements need to be done, like the roof, the HVAC, the
Right.
big components, and structurally, we don't have a problem with this. And that's kind of our strategy to be where we are today in the future. We are looking at, as well as this, and we are looking at other opportunities to expand but that's not in our strategy, so we're kind of looking at it, but, and we haven't really expanded what we're service currently high, but to your point is, we plan on maintaining the building and preserving the building into the future
And-
as our main building.
And our assessments have revealed there's no fatal flaw anywhere in the structure that we need to be concerned about from a life cycle perspective.
We have not seen any evidence that
Okay,
the structure,
that's,
earthquake, kind of thing, we haven't seen that.
okay.
We've done some mitigation from fire mitigation, electrical inspections, security, all that. To, and our, like our HVAC, our big systems,
Right.
to see if how long they can last, and those are the components we'll be replacing.
Yeah.
But it's a great question. Do we expand beyond this building? Or do we keep this building, or do we replace it? But currently, our strategy is to maintain it and preserve it.
I've dug around in the dark corners of this place. Some of it's a little sketchy. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's
that's.
the ones we're digging at to look
You know,
at.
we tried to do a condition assessment thing way back, but we didn't have any money for it. And I haven't been involved enough to know where. Yeah, but sounds like,
Well, any suggestions or anything you might know, Lucy's gonna
thank you.
be a good contact for that.
Thanks.
That's a great question, actually.
Right, next up, we've got the annual review of the finances. Jan, did you want to take that one?
I may have to come over here so I can't see this.
That's all right. Standing is good.
So this just shows where we are in our actuals against budget. And kind of just skip to the bottom line, the bottom two, capital revenue, 576, a little behind budget of 602, but I think we're hoping by the end of the year, we'll catch that up. As far as net operating income, we are quite a bit above budget, but as we get towards the end and with our forecast, we don't think we will be quite as far ahead. So, yeah, let's go to the next.
These are around here.
Pardon?
Why is the capital revenue down 30K, 35? That initiation fee.
Some of it's Tim's payouts that have
Yeah.
lowered the
Ah.
amount of initiation fees that are going to capital.
Yeah, and I will point out here, if you notice the pro shop, with guest fees, cart rental fees is way above budget, so they have been a big contributing factor to where we
Expand
are.
that so we can see what you're talking about,
On the right side,
Which part?
yeah.
so membership, pro shop, food and beverage, membership, there we go. Membership is slightly ahead of budget, pro shop is way ahead, like I said.
Does that make an official sandbag?
We're worried about next year now.
Expectations are high, very high.
Professional golfer and sales.
Food and beverage just slightly behind. Course maintenance is beating budget. Unfortunately, that's because they've been short of staff, so ahead, but not for the kind of reasons we'd like. Manor House, very close. Admin, mainly that's expenses related to the audit and a few other things. Any questions on that? So a lot of where we are for 24 is really exciting. Here's where we said right now we're had a budget by 142. We're expecting by the end of the year that we'll be at a 109 surplus against our full year budgeted surplus of 70. So if we meet that, then we will be able to add to our reserve. For this is from operations, not capital. We've grown our equity considerably this year. Just this year to date, we've grown net assets by 500,000. And if you look at what our net equity is per full member equivalent, we're at 16,000. And if you compare that to where we are with our debt for full member equivalent is 1,000. So debt to equity, we're in great shape. We have a very strong balance sheet. And we're continuing to grow it. We've paid down our debt this year. The only debt we have is for the Manor House. So we haven't taken on any extra debt and we are paying it down. So our goals for 25 is to continue to manage all of this, keep it growing, keep it strong. We want to continue with the marketing, the membership sales. We're going to be conservative in our projections of our initiation fees and our capital dollars coming in. Lori and Nate and all of the management team, they're going to get into the process right now of setting the budget for 25. And they spend a lot of time on that and they're very diligent about it. And so we expect that they analyze it and come up with a very good budget. And again, to continue to grow our financial statements, our balance sheet with growing net worth and adding, like you just showed with all of the capital improvements we've done, continuing to add to what's our most important asset, and that's the club, the grounds, the campus, all of that. So, like I said, happy to report that we're in a very strong financial condition.
And presumably, have we ever spent any of the reserve we made? I mean, it was primarily as a hedge against assessments.
It's a hedge if we fall below budget as well. And so, no, we have not spent any of that yet. We added to it last year and we hope to add to it again this year.
And did we set a target, what we wanted, was like 200,000 or something like
I
that?
don't think it was that high.
150,
Yeah,
150, 175.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're not
120.
quite there, we're still building towards that.
yeah.
Right,
How much did you say, Tim?
150 then.
Yeah,
I thought it was
I think
200,
so.
but it was 150.
Yeah, that's what. And when you look at a 70,000 variance in the size of budget, that's not a big percentage.
And almost all of that is down to the sandbaggers over there.
Well, he's good at it. So, we recognize him for it, but
Free drivers for everyone.
it just makes us a little uncomfortable with that small of a. It won't help your game. It really won't.
No.
Any other questions, comments? All right, thanks, Megan.
Thanks. All right. My thanks to the entire committee. I mean, it's been really a joy serving on the board this year in regards to that. Keeps them in line, and we have added a couple of new members there, trying to get a more broad spectrum of golfers associated with Perry Park. And it's been very productive. Excellent. Three updates. We focused on the members' experience. The biggest issue that we had in regards to the experience this year that we had to address was pace of play. The committee discussed several alternatives associated with increasing the speed of play of the players that were out there. And I think that overall it's been a good solution using Tag Marshall and then proactively monitoring pace of play through the pro shop. They've been watching the players out there and initiating conversations which have been received very well. We haven't had any fisticuffs out on the golf course through the pace of play, which is always good. I think that, what was that? I said, we're ready. I think the pace of play has really, once it was recognized in June that we have an issue with that, it was resolved very quickly in regards to that. And I think that the members and the pro shop were very cooperative in regards to accomplishing that. Pro shop's done a standing job in regards to doing that. In addition to that, we introduced a guest of member expectation play. One of the identifications in regards to pace of play is we have no leverage over guests that are out there playing by themselves for whatever reason. This page informs the guests about not only pace of play, but dress code policy, course, manor, house requirements, tipping, alcohol, smoking, illegal drugs, not to do it. And
When a guest registers now on 4Ts, or when a member registers a guest on 4Ts, they now receive an email with those guest expectations. If you have not seen this expectation page on the website, I highly recommend that you look at it. It sets the stage for the guest to have the best possible golfing experience. Or who's to say today's guest may be tomorrow's board member? We don't know. In regards to creating standards and member accountability, as part of the pace of play process, we're holding members accountable. Letters to members informing them of the pace of play violations is coming with teeth, which could ultimately lead to a member's suspension of golf privileges. To date, no letters or suspensions have been sent out. Now, I think this is due to the overwhelming acceptance and support of the membership. On a monthly basis, the committee also monitors course utilization, guest reporting, posting percentages, and using these tools, we continue to make sure that we give the members the best golf experience that they can have. We successfully added a new director of instruction. I had my reservations when we initially started that, because I didn't think we'd have enough work for Dylan to do, but 300 lessons, that's almost one lesson per month. And that's just outstanding. I was on the driving range right after he started hitting balls. And I heard this voice behind me say, "Would you like a suggestion?"
I think it works.
Play tennis.
I think you voiced that wrongly. There was clearly plenty of work to do. The question was, would members pay for it?
Anyway, the voice behind me said, "Would I like a suggestion?" I said, "Sure." And he said, "Slow down your backswing." And the next 5 balls with a slow backswing were straight and true and long. And I went, "I'm impressed. This is great." I can't say enough positive things concerning our new director. Both his skill set as a golfer and his personality are a perfect fit for the culture here at Prairie Park. His quick tips on the driving range on an early Saturday morning are always welcome and usually beneficial. Of course, I was out in the sand trap, working on sand trap, and he came up and looked, and I said, "You got any suggestions?" He said, "Yeah, don't hit it in the sand." I also have had the dubious honor of playing against members who have gotten lessons from him. And that just taught me that I need more lessons. If you haven't seen Jonah's videos on the lessons, I suggest you view them, but only if you want to improve your game. They're just great. I've heard many compliments and no complaints since Jonah has joined the team. The implementation of the tournament program, we implemented the first Super Senior Invitational. As we all age, we can't play the way we used to play 5-10 years ago. This tournament was a huge success for older male members of the club. The tournament allowed like-minded and aged members to compete at the level of our other 2 major tournaments, the Invitational and the Classic. A large time was had by all. The only downside of the tournament was that after the tournament was the passing of the SSI committee chairman, Fred Leitner. He will be missed. Pro Shop seamlessly executed over 100 events between Monday outside groups, the men's, women's leagues, senior Tuesdays, ladies Wednesdays, and the exchanges. The Pro Shop executed all of these with little, if any, fallout. Again, they're to be commended. They hosted 18 Monday outings, and I talked to Keith about this in regards to what we do for them. And yes, it's definitely good for the club, but it's a 2-pronged benefit to the club. Not only does it bring revenue to the club, but it also benefits the community. Many of these outings were charity events where substantial money was raised for organizations such as Sigma Hope, Boys and Girls Clubs, Children's Hospital, Ronald McDonald House, Kiwanis, and Angels of America's Fallen. just to name a few. This continues to give back to the community at large. So what are we gonna do next year? Well, we're gonna get better. Women's competitive golf is a small percentage of the total women golfers at Prairie Park. The goal here is to encourage non-competitive side of golf. Golf is always competitive, but you're not competing against the person next to you, you're competing against the golf course. Golf is a sport that can be enjoyed by all. It can be a great social experience where women can enjoy the sport, great outdoors, and most importantly, company of your fellow golfers. We want to increase that social interaction. We will continue to explore alternatives to around the golf using creative ways to bring people out on the golf course. Putting and chipping contests, chip and chip, beat the pro contests. That was always fun when you win. And other ideas are in the works for the coming year. If you have any ideas concerning this or anything else for the GTH committee to look at, please let us know. Inventory levels, Keith and I talked recently about this. I wanted to make a point of interest in regards to sales in the pro shop. In 2020, sales were $190,000. In 2024, the pro shop will surpass $340,000 in sales.
That's huge.
180 increase in 4 years, all with the same footprint. Pretty impressive. Off-season, our goal is to get members involved at a time when the course is usually covered by snow. Who knows what little thing this year, but we would like to explore alternatives and request that members who have any ideas on what we can do, let us know. Questions?
Well, Mike's had the comment about Gary taking all his thunder between the two of them, they taking every point on the slide.
Well, there you go.
So this will be the shortest presentation all night.
Thank you, that was good.
I do want to say how fortunate that this club is to have the entire management staff that we do. But since I'm on the grounds and greens and get to work with Jason Cook every day, not every day, but every week, I can't tell you how impressed I am with him and how lucky we are to have him as the superintendent. This golf course has never been in better shape. And everything he looks at is to keep it that way and improve it. We've got a huge expenditure coming up in the form of the irrigation pump house and the booster station. Those components have been in the water and whirling and doing their thing for 20+ years. And we pulled the pipe out early this year, late last year. It'll scare you. So it's something that's going to have to be done before, because we just cannot afford to lose this golf course. It's our asset. So Jason is totally focused on that, and the Grounds and Greens Committee is trying to support him in every way possible. And LRP is working with us, the board is aware of what's going on, etc. I think Jason is going to get started on the drainage project a little earlier than the closing of the season. It's gonna be a pretty massive project because we're gonna come off of one down there where the pine trees are on the right by the cart path where all the water collects from that point. Even before that point, all the way across 10 to the lake, there's gonna be 26 drain points. So these guys are gonna come in and tear it up pretty good. We may be playing 10 as a par 3 the last week or so of the season. So we'll just have to see about that. But what that's going to do, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Jason measured it last year. When the snow was melting, when we had a real pretty day and the snow was melting, he's getting 60 gallons a minute into that lake. So just multiply that over an 8-hour day. And, that's a lot of water, and when it comes down and it doesn't have anywhere to drain, then it freezes that night on the course and the grass is dead. So that's why this is so important. We initiated our equipment replacement programs, doing a great job of slowly adding to. We got a new fairway mower, new greens mower. We're looking at the aerifiers, got a couple of utility vehicles. You know, those things you don't even think about. Jason's old cart, he couldn't get 9 holes out here running around just doing his errands without having to go back to the shed to recharge it. With a new one, he goes out there and runs around all day. Just think how much time that saves. So he's being real judicious about the equipment that he needs, but when we get it identified, we're being aggressive about going to get it. As Mike said, the Wakanda Dam spillway, that's a government authority that says we have to fix it. As you can see, the lake is dropping rapidly, and that's to get it below the level of the spillway. So that could work and start in the next week, beginning of the week after, 14th, 15th, somewhere in there. So Grounds and Greens is coming right along. We've met regularly from February through this month. We probably are not going to meet in person November, December, January, because those are just down months, and Jason has a lot to do in the shop and all his people do to get ready for next year. So we try to stay out of his hair and just communicate via email, text, phone, whatever we have. So that's about it for Grounds and Greens. Any questions?
Hi, everyone. Lana here. Not Bob. Definitely some big shoes to fill, literally. So I will do my best. I'm not sure what he was gonna say, but I'll just read the slides and then answer to any questions that you guys have. So lots of updates this year, so it's hard to kind of narrow it down to 3. So last year we worked on restructuring a membership category, and that worked really well. This year's campaign was for our junior membership category. So I think for the health and vitality of any club, we need to acquire and retain our junior categories. And we put forth an initiation that was really successful. And then with the new ballot passed, we can ensure that going forward to keep our junior members. So we also more than doubled our full golf initiation fees. So currently our initiation fee for full golf is at $30. And then we also executed a more robust process for membership applicants. So background checks and credit checks, thanks to the business office. Also, thanks to the team and membership committee for sitting in on membership interviews and things like that. It's worked out really well, and we're happy with the applicants that we've got. And as far as I know, so far so good, they're happy too. Top 3 updates for 2025 and goals. We are focusing on communication via text messaging. So there's a lot of clubs that are doing that. We have been able to start notifications through the app, and the members that have the app are getting them. But this could be even faster way for members who opt in to have same day updates, whether it's club closures or even frost delays or specials, things like that. Just another way to communicate and have the information more readily for our members. Enhancing the membership experience. That's just a continual thing that we do, working with the directors, meeting weekly, monthly, figuring out what to do, where we're lacking and how to improve. And then also focusing on member retention. Our resignation rate is lower than 10% for golf and social, but less than 5% for golf this year so far. So we're actually trending a lot lower than what we projected. So that's great news. Any questions? Yes.
So where are we as opposed to full membership?
As far as where are we to the cap
Yeah.
capacity? So at the end of September, we were 319 to our 320 cap.
Not little, brings it to 100,000 for For the next last person.
We're comfortable with where we're at now. So,
Are you making a motion?
No, well, I don't care, we already belong, so whatever you want to do is fine.
Did a great job filling in for Bob.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna continue with marketing next slide too. So also marketing and communications, once again, lots of updates, lots of great changes, moving us forward into 2024 and forward. So this year we facilitated a lot of photo shoots, so our website was kind of lacking. I mean, of course, we've got a beautiful scene with lots of great photos, but the quality, what we want to project as far as our brand is what we were focusing on this year. So that will be updated on our website, the public and the private, and also emails that we send out and ads and things like that. So we need those. We also transitioned our customer relationship management program from an older company called Salesforce to Go High Level, including the capability of texting prospective members. This is the #1 response rate that I get for planning appointments here, tours, tea times, dining reservations, questions on billing or guest fees, just a lot of different back and forth because it's a lot of information, and texting has been so much faster and I'm able to contact those prospective members instantly. So sending in app notifications to members and shifted over to single sign-on for our app. So if you don't have the Prairie Park app downloaded, please do it. There's a lot of things you can do. Make dining reservations. You can register for events. You can also, if you're a golf member, make your tea times and not have to sign in twice. Top 3 updates for 2025. We're going to continue to shift marketing efforts from sales in the marketplace to enhancing our brand. So what that means is we're a golf and social club. Are we really a country club? What do we want to put out there as far as attracting new members? What do we want to be when we grow up, as Bob would like to say? So we'll continue with that. Also continuing to update the website with relevant content. And then we'll also start to develop targeted outreach to Dawson Trail and Crystal Valley growth. So that's about 5,800 homes going in the next 4 years, just north of us. And I do have a good friend of mine who works for the town, so we may have some special lunches here and there. So, but that's all we got for marketing. Any questions?
I got one, as I scroll the web, and I can't tell you exactly which sites, I get a lot of pop-ups for Perry Park.
Yeah.
For advertising,
Mhm.
is that targeted to a certain population,
Yes.
certain demographic?
So anybody, I mean, AI is incredible these days. Anybody who types in private golf course, golf, private country club, it's really just targeted to whatever you type in your search. So Facebook is the majority of our ads.
I never go on Facebook, I'm just typing in random news sites. to
We use
see if
Google.
Bingo, there it is.
Yeah, we use Google a lot too.
Okay,
Yeah, so you must be searching up some golf here and there.
okay.
So. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Great job.
Hello, guys. So top 3 updates and improvements and changes for the kitchen. Obviously, everybody knows that you guys have been spoiling the kitchen a lot with all this new equipment. Working out great, nice and cool in there in the summer. It's just beautiful to have some nice new equipment back there. Other item is being present at Max's during full club closures, providing a wide range of opportunity, options out there. So being out there cooking and interacting with members during full club closures here. Another item is partnering closely with our vendors, so using them against each other, showing them prices of what's coming from this provider to this, and then they match it or do better pricing We're gonna be moving to some different, burger patties back there and just, price difference is gonna be great. So yeah, that's the top three for me.
For front of the house, we created an online reservation system for regular dining and member events. So, keeping up with technology, I remember when we first started, myself, a couple of years ago, we had the phone and a notepad and pen. So this is a huge upgrade, really nice features using Jonas that's integrated with the online reservation system. And hopefully members have seen, the ease of access and the opportunity to use the reservation system. So enhancing the way we do things and making sure that we preset, tables and have everything, readily available for those reservations. So please continue to support that as much as possible. New meal period, which is breakfast. It's a nice feature that Justin created an amazing menu for that. And we'd love to see more people attend breakfast. We do have staff every morning for that. So that'll continue. We just want people to support it. We appreciate those that do come in. We created an allocation beverage program. So these are really high-end products that are not easily accessible. Working with vendors to make sure that Perry Park has these awesome bourbons, whiskeys, tequilas that are on our shelf. And it's great to say to people that are attending a wedding or a Monday tournament, you can look at it, but you can't buy it. That is members only. Nice. And that's what I have for this year.
All right, so, moving into 2025, in the kitchen. Looking to do some cross training in the kitchen, helping out, more utilization of our team, helping at Max's and just being, more cross trained. Utilizing Max's for more member events and being out there, more often. Upgrading the, last couple pieces of equipment up back there that need to be, upgraded. Just the old stuff, having the best tools and quality for efficiency.
Front of the house, the first bullet point and the third kind of go together. So weddings and Monday tournaments, we've taken a close eye and looking at the pricing for that. So for those guests coming in for a wedding, the price for a beverage is significantly higher for those people. So we want to make sure that we keep member pricing at a very low approachable price point. And we'll continue to offer $5 house cocktails, beverages, half price bottles of wine on Wednesday, $4 doubles, all those incentives, and we can collect and meet our goals, financial goals with those money tournaments and weddings and non-member events when we can capture those events. And service. So it's always a continuation of something that our team needs to evolve and make sure that if we lose a team member, the next one coming in is just at that level of experience and ability to serve our members. So constant training for staff members, always pushing the bar for better service, time of service, and execution.
Any questions?
Is my Glenn Levitt gonna go down to $5 now?
We can charge you $4 more for a double.
Very good.
Okay.
Any questions online?
Nope.
Hopefully, any questions here? Hopefully the information is helpful. So you know more about the club. Anything from the board? And again, Mike, will recognize you and Dakota for excellent 3 years and 4 years of service. And Mike volunteered to stay on for some help with some of our special projects. So appreciate that. Patty didn't know that yet. Yeah. I appreciate it, and everyone, thank you for attending the meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Thanks.
Board meeting. Oh.